My hands won't stop shaking. The leather portfolio in my lap feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds, but I force myself to keep my spine straight, my chin up. Across the mahogany table, Marcus leans back in his chair with that infuriating smirk I used to find charming. Now it just makes my stomach turn. Your Honor, his attorney, a woman in a sharp burgundy suit, gestures toward me with perfectly manicured nails. Miss Mitchell has wasted this court's time for 6 months. She was merely a junior accountant who helped with basic financial projections. My client built Beacon from the ground up. The lie lands so smoothly I almost admire it. Almost. Judge Rivera peers at me over her reading glasses. There's something in her expression, a flicker of amusement that makes my pulse spike. She knows Marcus. I've suspected it for weeks, but now I'm certain. Miss Mitchell, the judge's voice carries that particular tone people use when they're about to dismiss you entirely. Do you have anything substantial to present, or shall we move to summary judgment? My lawyer, Daniel, stands halfway up, but I touch his arm. He's 28, 3 years out of law school, and this case is crushing him. His senior partners wanted him to settle weeks ago. Take the 20% Marcus offered. Walk away. But I didn't build Beacon to walk away with scraps. Your Honor, my voice sounds stronger than I feel. I have new evidence I'd like to present. Marcus's smirk doesn't falter. His new wife, Vanessa, squeezes his hand. She used to be a paralegal at his attorney's firm. She used to be a lot of things before she was his wife. Make it quick, Judge Rivera says. The room feels too small, too hot. I think about the first time Marcus and I sat in our cramped studio apartment in North Beach, 3 years ago. Him sketching wireframes on a napkin. Me coding beside him until 3 in the morning, fueled by cold pizza and the absolute certainty that we were building something that mattered. Beacon was supposed to revolutionize how small businesses manage their finances. AI-powered insights, intuitive interface, real-time collaboration. I spent 2 years teaching myself machine learning, building the algorithms from scratch while Marcus handled the vision and marketing strategy. Then we launched. 2 million users in 6 months. Acquisition offers started rolling in. Marcus suggested we get married first, lock everything down properly. I thought it was romantic. I was an idiot. We divorced 8 months ago. He'd been sleeping with Vanessa for at least 6 of those. The divorce was clean, or so I thought. We split our assets, kept the business partnership on paper. The prenup we'd signed said any intellectual property created during the marriage was joint ownership, 50-50. 3 weeks after the divorce was finalized, Marcus filed to dissolve our business partnership and claimed sole ownership of Beacon. His attorneys produced a document, a contract I'd supposedly signed 18 months earlier, assigning all rights to him in exchange for a salary as a junior developer. I'd never seen that contract before in my life, but somehow it had my signature. Miss Mitchell? Judge Rivera's voice cuts through my thoughts. Your evidence? I stand. My legs feel unsteady, but I make myself walk to the front of the courtroom. Daniel hands me a USB drive, his eyes worried. We've been over this a dozen times. It's a gamble. A massive, terrifying gamble. Your Honor, I'd like to submit forensic analysis of the codebase for Beacon, specifically the version control history and metadata. Marcus's attorney stands immediately. Objection. We've been over this. My client obviously has access to the code he created. He didn't create it. My voice rings out sharper than I intended. The courtroom goes quiet. I did. And I can prove it. Judge Rivera sighs like I'm a child, refusing to accept reality. Miss Mitchell, your ex-husband has provided testimony from multiple colleagues, stating he was the primary developer. They're lying. The words escape before I can stop them. Or they're mistaken. They weren't there. They didn't see who was writing the actual code at 2 in the morning, who was debugging, who was building the neural network from scratch. Do you have evidence? Judge Rivera enunciates each word slowly, or just accusations? I have evidence. I hold up the USB drive. This contains the complete Git history for Beacon, going back 41 months. Every commit, every change, every single line of code, with timestamps and device fingerprints. Marcus shifts in his seat. It's tiny, barely noticeable, but I see it. The first crack in his confidence. His attorney recovers quickly. Your Honor, we're not disputing that Miss Mitchell contributed code. But my client directed that work, conceived the architecture, made the critical decisions, then he'll know what I'm about to ask him. I turn to face Marcus directly. My heart is pounding so hard I can hear it in my ears. Marcus, what was the internal code name for Beacon during development? The room goes silent. Marcus blinks at me. his smirk frozen in place. "Excuse me," he says. "The code name. The name we used internally before we settled on Beacon. The name that appears in 847 commits across 3 years of development. The name that's in every single file path, every documentation note, every design document from the beginning." Marcus glances at his attorney. She looks confused. "Good. She wasn't involved in the beginning. She doesn't know." We went through several names," Marcus says smoothly. "Lighthouse, Pathfinder, I think Navigator at one point." "No," I cut him off. "Those were your ideas for the marketing name. I'm asking about the development code name, the one only someone who actually worked in the code would know." His face pales slightly. Just slightly. But it's enough. Judge Rivera is watching him now. Really watching him. "Your Honor, this is a pointless game," his attorney interjects. "My client can't be expected to remember every trivial." "It's not trivial," I say quietly. "It's in literally every file. Every single one. If Marcus built this app, he'd know it immediately." The silence stretches out. Marcus opens his mouth, closes it. Sweat beads at his hairline. "Project Phoenix?" he finally offers. I almost laugh. Phoenix was what he wanted to call his first failed startup, before he met me. "No," I say. "Your Honor, his attorney is on her feet now, this is absurd. Miss Mitchell is playing word games." "I'll tell you the name," I say. "And then I'll show you the forensic evidence proving that Marcus's devices never, not once in 3 years, accessed files containing this name. Because he didn't know it existed." Judge Rivera leans forward. For the first time today, she looks uncertain. The code name was Martinelli Protocol. The words hang in the air like smoke. Marcus stares at me, genuine confusion crossing his face. He's not even pretending anymore. He truly has no idea what I'm talking about. "Who's Martinelli?" his attorney asks. "My grandmother," I say softly. "Maria Martinelli. She immigrated from Italy in 1952 with $17 and a sewing machine. She taught herself English, built a tailoring business, put 3 kids through college. When I was 14, she told me, 'Sarah, always put your name on your work, even if it's just a little hidden signature, because people will try to take credit, but your work will remember who made it.' My eyes are burning, but I force myself to keep going. So I named the protocol after her. Every core function, every critical algorithm, every piece of the engine that makes Beacon work, it's all built on the Martinelli protocol. It's in the code comments, the function names, the documentation, everywhere. And Marcus never knew, because he never looked at the actual code." I turn to Daniel, who connects the USB drive to the courtroom display. Screens light up with Git histories, commit logs, file metadata. "This is the first mention of Martinelli protocol." I point to a commit from 41 months ago. 3 a.m, May 14th. My laptop, authenticated by device fingerprint. Here's the second mention, 2 days later. Here's the full implementation, June 2nd. I scroll through commits, hundreds of them, all from my devices, all time-stamped during late nights, early mornings, weekends. And here, I pull up a different view, is every commit from Marcus's devices during the same period. The screen shows a sparse handful of entries. Marketing documents, wireframes, investor pitch decks, not a single line of code. "Your Honor, Marcus's attorney is flipping through papers frantically. We were never provided with this analysis. Because we just received it yesterday," Daniel says quietly. "From a forensic expert we hired independently. And when we tried to file a motion to submit it, we were told the evidence period was closed." Judge Rivera's face has gone carefully neutral, but her hand trembles slightly as she adjusts her glasses. "There's more," I say. I'm shaking now, but I can't stop. In our initial discovery, Marcus claimed he didn't have access to the original development environment. Said it was lost when we separated. But these Git logs show his devices accessing the repository as recently as 3 weeks ago. He downloaded everything. He knew this evidence existed. I pull up another document, and this is an email exchange between Marcus and his attorney from 4 months before he filed for sole ownership. The subject line is, "Options for claiming full IP rights." They discuss various strategies, including the retroactive contract he produced. Marcus is no longer smirking. His face has gone gray. Vanessa has let go of his hand. "How did you," he starts, then stops himself. "How did I get your emails?" I finish for him. "I didn't. You sent them from the company email server. The one I built. The one where I'm still the technical administrator. Because you never thought to revoke my access. You didn't think I'd be smart enough to look. Judge Rivera removes her glasses slowly. Mr. Thompson, did you have knowledge of what Miss Mitchell is calling the Martinelli Protocol during the development of this application? Marcus looks at his attorney. She's pale now, too, shuffling papers, probably calculating how badly this is going. It was a collaborative process, Marcus says weakly. We worked together on everything. Then why is your name not on a single commit that mentions it, I ask. Why did you guess Phoenix and Navigator when the real answer appears literally 847 times in files you claim to have created? No answer. Your Honor, his attorney tries one more time. Even if Miss Mitchell wrote more code than previously indicated, that doesn't negate the contract she signed. The contract that I never signed, I say. The one that mysteriously appeared with a signature that doesn't match any of my other legal signatures. The one that was allegedly signed on March 3rd, but references version 2.4 of the app, which according to these Git logs wasn't created until March 18th. I watch the words land. Watch Marcus's attorney grip the edge of the table. I've had a forensic document examiner analyze the signature, I continue. Would you like me to submit that report as well? The room is utterly silent now. Even the court reporter has stopped typing. Judge Rivera takes a long breath. When she speaks, her voice is carefully controlled. We'll take a 15-minute recess. When we return, I expect all parties to be prepared to discuss settlement negotiations. Your Honor, I say before she can stand, there's one more thing. She freezes. I know you and Marcus are friends. Or rather, I know you and Vanessa were roommates at UCLA. I have photos from your Facebook, before Vanessa made her profile private last month. I've documented 17 instances where you and Marcus's legal team were in contact outside of official court channels, and I've filed a motion with the State Judicial Board requesting your recusal. The color drains from Judge Rivera's face. That's a serious accusation, she says slowly. It's a factual statement, I reply. You should have disclosed your relationship with the defendant's wife. You didn't. That's grounds for appeal on any decision you make in this case. So unless you want your entire judicial record examined, I suggest you recuse yourself now. For 10 seconds, nobody breathes. Then Judge Rivera stands. This court is in recess, pending reassignment to a different judge. Bailiff, please ensure all parties remain available. She walks out, her robe swishing behind her. The door closes with a heavy thunk. Marcus is staring at me like he's never seen me before. Maybe he hasn't. Maybe the Sarah he knew was someone who wouldn't fight back, who'd accept his version of reality, who'd take the 20% and disappear. That Sarah died when I found his emails about stealing my work. Daniel touches my shoulder. Sarah, he whispers, that was incredible, but we need to talk about what happens next. If they're going to offer a settlement, I say, watching Marcus and his attorney huddle together, their whispers urgent. Within the hour. They can't risk a new judge seeing all this evidence. I'm right. 43 minutes later, we're in a conference room down the hall. Marcus won't look at me. His attorney slides a document across the table. My client is willing to offer 60-40 split, with Miss Mitchell receiving 40% of Beacon's valuation and ongoing equity. I don't even glance at the document. No. Miss Mitchell. The attorney's voice takes on a patronizing tone. I understand you're upset, but 40% of a $50 million company is 80%, I say. And Marcus keeps 20%, with no decision-making authority. He'll be listed as a co-founder on paper, which is more than he deserves, but I'll be CEO and sole technical director. If he doesn't accept, we go to trial with a new judge, and I submit all of this evidence plus the forensic analysis of the forged contract. We'll pursue criminal fraud charges, and I'll make sure every tech blog in San Francisco knows exactly what he tried to do. The attorney starts to argue, but Marcus holds up his hand. He's aged 10 years in the last hour. Fine, he says quietly. 80-20. Drafted. His attorney looks like she wants to protest, but Marcus is already standing, already walking toward the door. Vanessa follows him, her heels clicking on the tile. She doesn't look back. When they're gone, Daniel lets out a breath that sounds like he's been holding it for 6 months. I cannot believe that worked, he says. It almost didn't, I admit. My hands are still shaking. If the forensic report had taken one more day, if Judge Rivera hadn't been so obvious about her bias, if Marcus had actually looked at the code even once. But he didn't, Daniel says. Sarah, you won. Won. The word feels strange. I don't feel victorious. I feel exhausted and angry and sad. Sad for the version of me who believed Marcus when he said we were partners. Sad for all the nights I spent building something I thought was ours, not knowing he was planning to take it all. But underneath the sadness, there's something else. Something hard and bright and unbreakable. 3 weeks later, I'm standing in a converted warehouse in the Mission District. 23 young women sit at laptops, their faces glowing in the screen light. The youngest is 16. The oldest is 42. They're all here for the same reason. They want to code, but they don't see themselves reflected in the tech industry. This is called a function, I say, pulling up code on the projector. It's a piece of code that does a specific task. You'll write thousands of them. And every single one you're going to put your name in the comments. Not because anyone will read it. Not because it's required. But because your work deserves your signature. A girl in the front row, maybe 19, raises her hand. What if someone tries to take credit? I smile, and it's not a gentle smile. Then you'll have proof, and you'll fight back. Because the thing about code is, it never lies. People lie. But code remembers exactly who wrote it and when. That's your power. I named the nonprofit after my grandmother, the Martinelli Initiative. It's funded entirely by my majority stake in Beacon, which is now valued at $73 million and climbing. Every year, we'll provide free coding, education, and legal support to 200 women and non-binary folks who want to break into tech. We'll teach them to code. But more importantly, we'll teach them to protect their work. Marcus sends me an email once a month with Beacon's financials. His 20% is making him wealthy. Not as wealthy as me, but comfortable. Enough that he'll never have to work again if he doesn't want to. I don't respond to the emails. There's nothing left to say. Vanessa left him 4 months after the settlement. I heard through mutual friends that she took half his assets in their divorce. Poetic justice, I suppose. Daniel made partner at his firm. His senior partners couldn't exactly deny him after he won the biggest IP case of the year. He still calls me sometimes, asking for advice on cases. I always take his calls. Judge Rivera resigned quietly before the Judicial Review Board could formally investigate. The last I heard, she was consulting for a legal ethics think tank. I find that funny in a dark way. But mostly, I try not to think about any of them. I'm too busy here, in this warehouse that smells like coffee and ambition, teaching young women that their work matters, that their names belong on their code, that they don't have to accept anyone else's version of their story. Remember, I tell my students as we wrap up for the day, you're not just learning to code, you're learning to build proof. Proof that you were here, that you created this, that this work belongs to you. Don't ever let anyone erase that. They nod, saving their work, packing up their laptops. Some of them stay after to ask questions. I answer every single one, no matter how long it takes. Because Grandma Martinelli was right. You put your name on your work. Even if it's just a little hidden signature, even if no one else sees it, your work will remember who made it. And when someone tries to steal it, when they try to convince the world that they built what you created with your own hands, your own mind, your own sleepless nights and stubborn determination, that signature becomes a weapon. I learned that the hard way. Now I'm teaching others the easy way. Outside the warehouse windows, the San Francisco fog rolls in, turning the streetlights into soft halos. Inside, keyboards click, and someone laughs at a bug in their code. The sound fills me with something that feels suspiciously like hope. I pull out my laptop, open the codebase for Beacon. Somewhere in there, buried in thousands of files, 847 references to Martinelli Protocol are still quietly doing their job, keeping the whole system running. I add one more commit. Just a comment in the main authentication file. For Grandma. You taught me to sign my work. Thank you for teaching me to fight for it too. I hit save. The change syncs to the repository, time-stamped, fingerprinted, permanent, proof. My phone buzzes. A text from one of my students. I just got my first freelance coding job. They tried to lowball me, but I remembered what you said about knowing my worth. Negotiated them up 40%. Thank you. I smile and text back a string of celebration emojis. Then I close my laptop, turn off the lights, and lock up the warehouse. Tomorrow, 23 women will be back, learning to write code that can't be erased, can't be stolen, can't be denied. Tomorrow, I'll teach them that the two most powerful words in technology aren't artificial intelligence or machine learning. They're the ones hidden in every line of good code, waiting to be discovered. I made this. And no one, not even a judge, not even the person who promised to love you, can take that away.